Doctor Who is about to plop out its third episode of its 14th season with its 15th Doctor, and well, their promotion is a bit interesting, right? Because here you have the 10th and 14th, and well, kind of discredited Doctor David Tennant, not from his performance or anything like that. Like, his performance was generally decent, even with his mediocre script that he was given for those special episodes in, on, and around Christmas for the 60th anniversary, but no, it was just his own take on things. It's kind of discredited things more than those abysmal episodes ever could. Doctor Who star David Tennant pushes back against anti-trans rhetoric. What are we talking about here? You don't need to be bothered about it. F off and let people be. Here's the thing, man. Most people don't care about if you're trans or not. It's the trans people that make it everybody else's problem. That's the issue at play here, but this is just spoken like a true out-of-touch celebrity. What does he have to say? In the opinion of Doctor Who star David Tennant, not only is he fed up with the ongoing weaponization of transgender rights. Which rights exactly? Are they fighting for the right to your taxpayer money in order to do experimental surgeries on their body? That human right? But he also feels that those who continue to take such active issue with the concept should just F off and let people be. Cool, take a look in the mirror, and then maybe take that mirror and flip it on those freak shows, and then just tell them to let people be, because guess what? The vast majority of people do not care if you want to wear women's dresses, if you want to strap down your hoo-haws in order to stand at a urinal. Nobody cares. Nobody actually cares out there in public. It's just stop forcing your ideology on everybody else, and then we can get along. Pretty simple, right? But no, it's different. Fan favorite 10th Doctor actor offered his take in the current transgender discourse while speaking with fans at a May 5th appearance at Proud Nerd Angels, Demons, and Doctors Convention in Gotch, Germany. Oh boy. Pressed by a fan who themselves identifies as transgender. Oh, of course, man. Because most of these freaks that are out there for attention have nothing unique about themselves other to play the victim card. Whether his relationship with gender expression, masculinity, and femininity had changed over the years, what a worthless question. You're at a panel talking to the arguably the most prolific doctor in New Who history, and that's all you have to come up with? Hey, let me talk about me and my mental illness. Fantastic stuff. When I was a kid, the idea of being non-binary wasn't something that existed. It still barely does, except for fringe internet circles. It wasn't a concept he added, as seen in the TikTok video provided by a fan who asked the question. Okay, I've seen that emerge, and people are able to express themselves through that. It only seems positive as far as I can see. Yeah, exactly. If you want to go ahead, and if that makes you feel better about yourself, that's fine. But asking everybody else to go along with your delusions, that's where the buck stops. To this end, Tennant then recalled, when I was a teenager, I remember gay rights being weaponized politically. Yeah, exactly. By which side exactly? That always felt ugly and nasty. We look back at that 30 years later, and those people are clearly on the wrong side of history. Are they really? A strange stance to take. I thought you were on the side of the pro-game. Oh, no, he's talking about the other one. Oh, he doesn't actually understand history. Now, there's a similar weaponization of these topics being taken by mostly the right wing or certain sections of society to create friction and conflict and division where it needn't be. Yeah, exactly, because you and your people who align with you ideologically are just so used to being able to march through every institution unencumbered, and everybody would just stand off to the side and not worry about it, not want to cause a fuss, because conservatives are really good at one thing, and it's not so much winning any of these interactions, it's just bending over and grabbing their ankles and hoping that they can just go ahead and continue to carve out a happy little existence, playing their happy little daydreams of living in the 1950s while the rest of the world burns. But now that we're starting to see people push back as your side decided to get a little bit more overt with your intentions, now that you're just starting to see rational discourse out there where it didn't exist before, where people are tired of just going down the slippery slope time and time again, now you don't have any rebuttal to this stuff. It's just simply shaming language writ large. It's just people being themselves. You don't need to be bothered by it. Yeah, F off and let people be. Again, Go ahead. You go ahead and tell your crew that, because it's not the other side that really cares that much about it. If you're going to be a fully grown adult living your own life, fantastic. It's just when you take it in front of the kids, or when you require everybody else to adhere to your nonsense, that's when there's a problem. But who's the one instigating the issue? Oh, right, you don't want to talk about that specifically, but in regards to Doctor Who, because I thought that's what this was supposed to be framed about. Yeah, it's about people being themselves. You don't need to be bothered about it. F off and let people be. Well, then when you end up having this as your big villain, okay, a drag queen, Jinx Monsoon, who's apparently popular in those circles. I don't know. I don't watch any of that. The nicest way to put it. British pork product. Television shows like RuPaul's Drag Race and the bunch. Okay, I'm not familiar with this thing. But you have that combined with the first openly gay black doctor, and imagine that when you start to force all of these things that nobody cared about. Nobody cared what the doctor did with his junk outside of his relationship with his companion beforehand, but now you want to make that at the forefront of your marketing? What happened to just let people be? Tell them to F off. David? Ncuti Gatwa's a Doctor Who ratings plummet after viewers don't watch and turn off the TV. Now that we have further clarification on this, oh boy, she's a fun one. After Ncuti Gatwa told potential Doctor Who viewers to not watch the show when turn off the TV, overnight ratings appear to indicate that many took his advice, as the numbers are terrible. As we talked about before, Space Babies Part 1 of the two-part, with The Devil's Cord coming up 200,000 fewer viewers, 2.6 to 2.4, nearly 50% decline in viewership from both episodes compared to Ncuti Gatwa's debut episode. Yes, the Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. BBC reported that that the special saw viewership hit 4.7 million in overnight numbers. That took like 14 days in order to come out. Nothing sketchy about that. That means Space Babies was down 45% and The Devil's Cord was down 49%. But they had gay doctors and they had drag queen villains. Very progressive. This massive decline in viewership comes in the wake of The Church on Ruby Road already setting records for terrible viewership. Gatwa's debut ratings are the second worst in the show's entire history. In fact, Jodie Whittaker's debut episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, had an overall viewership of 10.96 million viewers in a country of just over 30 million. So that means 1 in 3 people tuned in for the debut episode of the first female Doctor. The time when you decided to put personal politics at the forefront of your marketing. Imagine that. It's almost like people have seen this song and dance before, know where it ultimately ends up leading, and has decided to go ahead and let those people live their life. I'm sure Tennant would be awfully happy about that. The only Doctor Who debut that Gatwa debut beat was the first episode of Doctor Who, with William Hartnell as the first Doctor in An Unearthly Child, the episode which aired back in 1963, literally moments after the Kennedy assassination. I kid you not. Premiered with 4.4 million viewers. Yes, Hartnell's first Doctor would see viewership increase over the next 10 episodes, initially increased to 5.9 million. Third episode, it was up to 6.9 million. Back in 63, by the way, episode 7 hit 8.9 million, episode 8 hit 9.9, and 10 hit 10.4 million. But now it's a different media landscape, guys. It's a different time. We have to wait for the iPlayer viewers, which is not at all an accurate representation of how many people actually watched the episode. It counts a single view every time somebody clicks or refreshes on the viewer. So yeah, get a few dedicated weirdos. It could literally have hundreds of thousands of views on the iPlayer. We've heard from Ncuti before, and need not tread over that well-worn ground. Let's go ahead and talk about the big bad villain over the top of that, Jinx Monsoon, what they had to say.
There's a lot of toxicity about gender in the trans conversation. In the 70s, it was a conversation of queerness and gay conversion. We overcame it, and we'll overcome it again. To the people who are upset about it, boo-hoo, cry your effing tears.
What's with these people being so vulgar? I don't get it.
It's not your world exclusively. We all live here, so get over yourself.
Yeah, again, we don't discount the fact that you exist. It's just when you come in and try to subvert a decades-old franchise, when you try to make it all about you instead of all about good stories, that's when people have problems. If you were just out there living your life in your own little niche, that would be totally fine. You cut yourself a wonderful little niche in your own little community. But here's the thing about getting wider appeal, okay? That's the reason why you have your A-list stars offer just boilerplate responses to any controversial topic that's out there. You have to water down your presentation. You have to, this is their opinion, not my opinion at all, but you have to be as inoffensive to the most people possible in order to be the most marketable. But here's the thing, man. In your little circles, it seems totally fine to wear a dress and a whole bunch of makeup. But to the people writ large, normies that are out there, they look at that and it's like, oh God, I'm not tuning in for an episode of Wicked. And that doesn't look like the Doctor, not the one that I remember. And what's all of this stuff over the top about him in a dress and dancing? It's like, I wanted a sci-fi story. I don't need to see queer as folk anymore.
I know a lot of people might not even watch this season of Doctor Who because it's taking such a decisively queer step.
Oh yeah, now that we have the results of that, and it's going to be very interesting to see week number 2 and what that ultimately turns out. I could imagine another steep drop-off.
However, if they watch it, I think they'll see that we're just actors playing characters.
Yeah, clearly, because you're a drag queen dressed in the most drag queen appropriate attire possible. Really stepping out, really being a good actor right there, not just playing yourself. And then Ncuti making everything about the fact that he's a gay black Rwandan gentleman. People tune in to this type of entertainment for a bit of escapism. They don't need to be reminded that everything that they used to know and love has been subverted by a bunch of weirdos. So yeah, imagine why people are tuning out. It's not because of bigotry. It's not because of racism. It's simply because your preachy messaging doesn't work here anymore. And by the end of the season, you won't be working there anymore. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.